What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? The last time we been together. We wash your car for you. We wash your car. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. And when you got them getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like y'all better start buying this slippery soap, man. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had a
interview. The streets are buzzing, and no one saw this coming. 50 Cent just unleashed some explosive tapes that have Rick Ross looking like he's about to lose his grip. And let me tell you, this ain't your average rap feud anymore. These leaked recordings tied to Ross and Diddy have flipped the whole game upside down, and once you hear what's on them, you'll see exactly why Ross is furious enough to set the entire industry on fire. The way 50 pulled this off. Pure chess, pure chaos.
Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bro, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace, it's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell. Because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They're not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, you know, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bro.
Break it down, 50 Cent has been running the longest hustle in hip-hop history with this one. Back in 2009, when Rick Ross first came at him with that Officer Ricky nonsense, everybody thought it was just another rap beef. But 50? He was playing an entirely different game. While Ross was busy flexing and clowning around, 50 was moving in silence like a predator in tall grass, stacking receipts, building alliances, and waiting for the perfect moment. Every time Ross bragged about his Wingstop empire or showed off his car collection, 50 didn't bite back with small jabs. He just studied, calculated, and kept stockpiling ammo. This takedown? Straight up evil genius. 50 waited until Ross was on top of the world, everywhere on social media, hyping his new Checkers franchise, bragging about business wins, and feeling untouchable. That's when 50 decided the stage was set. If you were watching his Instagram closely, the signs were all there. First came the cryptic posts about people not being who they claimed to be. Then he dropped that chilling tick, tick, tick warning like a countdown nobody understood. Folks thought he was trolling, but the streets knew something was brewing. And then boom. Out of nowhere, on a regular Tuesday when everybody thought it was business as usual, 50 detonated the bomb. He dropped the first tape without a single caption, no build-up, no flashy rollout, just raw destruction. The silence was louder than words. Within minutes, the internet went nuclear. The industry wasn't just talking, it was on fire.
On one of those tapes, you just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bruh.
Reactions hit like a tidal wave. Within minutes, industry executives were pulling emergency conference calls, PR teams were scrambling to draft statements, and anyone who ever had ties to Ross or Diddy suddenly went ghost. This wasn't the usual rap beef energy, no diss tracks, no recycled DMs. This was something far more sinister. The precision behind it all was shocking. 50 had been quietly biding his time for years, waiting for Ross to reach peak success, only to drag him down harder than ever before. The wildest part? Ross didn't even realize what was happening at first. Word is, he was sitting in a business meeting when his phone started lighting up nonstop. At first, he brushed it off, assuming 50 was just cracking another joke at his expense. But when he finally opened that video and saw exactly what 50 had dropped, everything shifted. That's when the panic set in. And here's the kicker. That first tape wasn't even the end game. The whispers in the streets say 50 is sitting on a mountain of material, stuff he's been hoarding for over a decade, waiting for the perfect time to pull the trigger. The way he plotted this whole spectacle feels less like beef and more like a revenge saga, with Ross cast as the lead character in a film he never agreed to star in. Now the real question everyone's asking is, if 50 waited 14 years to unleash this bomb, just how deep does his vault go? Because if there's more where that came from, the storm is only beginning.
Again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't. And I don't know if I want to. Race, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here. Because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate, reliable source, people in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Race, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy. And you tend to be an ethical guy, and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information, but the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you are the one to identify them, I think that's a problem, right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right, this is not an email, this is not a text message, this is video. And there's specific statutes without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person. I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah. And see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you've got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here. And that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now, there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts. Like they knew, and he filmed other times. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's going to come out. It's going to come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not going to come out via me.
Remember all those moments Ross stood firm, swearing he never did business with certain people? Well, that's exactly why these tapes are blowing the lid off everything, because the receipts don't lie. 50 Cent has Ross caught in 4K, doing the very things he spent years denying. The footage isn't just harmless clips either. What 50 released shows Ross in highly compromising situations with Diddy, and trust, these weren't your average boardroom meetings. We're talking about private gatherings where Ross looked way too comfortable with folks he once claimed he didn't even know. But the real bombshell? The audio. In one recording, Ross can be heard openly bragging about backroom deals with Diddy, arrangements he's been publicly denying for years. The casual way he discusses it has the industry shook because it makes it sound like these weren't isolated incidents. They were part of a much bigger pattern. People who've actually seen the footage say it's the type of evidence that could get someone blackballed permanently. And here's the part that has everybody's head spinning. These leaks are dragging old rumors about Ross's early days right back into the spotlight. Those whispers he's always tried to shut down about how he really got his first break? These videos seem to confirm them in a way that's impossible to ignore. The image being painted is nothing like the story Ross has sold for years. Instead, we're seeing him cozying up to individuals he swore he never touched business with and admitting to moves he swore never.
So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was going to find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil. They knew about that at first. You got to realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put it past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They got to test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Well, you know sell that much baby oil.
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No. They just walk out the people who are being arrested. A person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses. Do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see. See if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is it effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rub it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss, drowsiness.
Actions inside the industry have been nothing short of chaos. One executive, who refused to put their name on record because they're still active in the business, described watching the tapes as like witnessing someone's entire career crumble in front of your eyes. Another insider tied to Ross's label admitted emergency meetings had to be called immediately because nobody could predict how many more bombs 50 might have tucked away. This isn't the usual rap feud where someone drags up old DMs or drops a quick diss record. These tapes hit differently. They've got Ross and Diddy looking highly questionable, especially given all the other scandals already swirling around them. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Ross is in the middle of expanding his empire, locking down food chains and brand deals, while Diddy is already buried under his own mountain of controversy. Then boom, here come 50's tapes. For Ross, the nightmare isn't just the embarrassment, it's the potential collapse of everything he's built. Wingstop franchise.
Because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, you don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know. And so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes...
Not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it is exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business. And maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they weren't feeling
that shiny new checkers deal, all the brand partnerships. Corporate America doesn't play when controversy enters the chat. Once your name gets tied to messy headlines like this, companies start pulling back fast, not wanting the smoke. But the real danger is in 50's strategy. Every time Ross tries to deny what's in the footage or spin it in his favor, 50 claps back with another clip that makes him look even worse. It's like 50 had cameras shadowing Ross for years, saving the receipts for the exact moment when the damage would cut deepest. And when word finally got back to Ross about what was really captured on those tapes, that's when things exploded. Because it's one thing to battle rumors, it's another to know there's actual video evidence floating around, showing the very secrets you've worked overtime to bury. That's when Ross's response turned the situation from bad to
about a year or so ago, not even a year or so ago, he said that when he dropped my name, he said, yo, I got the savoir faire. I got that from Big Gene. He been trying to tell y'all about this puff shit years ago. But 50 was the type of dude that if you knew he was with you, he was with you. Even back then, he had your back whether you was security or whatever you did. If he was with you, he was with you. And that's what you got to love about him. You know what I mean? You ain't got to question his loyalty, you know what I'm saying, on some fight shit or if you in a situation. Because he going out.
Well, I guess you were hanging around him or knew him, right before he got shot.
Well, what happened is that I had got some information. 50 came to my house. I tried to fit him on a vest, but I'm like, at the time I was like a 3X. And 50 was like a large, you know what I'm saying? So he couldn't really fit the vest, but I gave him a cover to try to tell him, because he had some pads, some vest pads. So I just told him what the situation was that I knew. And told him he had to watch himself because those cats was going to come at him. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah. And he was supposed to be going to Cancun. And I told him, if you come to Cancun, I got you, because I used to be down there doing security at Daddy-O's. You understand? And I had people down there that I knew that was from Puerto Rico, and they was working down there. So they should make sure when I hit the island, anything and everything I needed, I could get it right there on the island. You understand? They work directly with the syndicate. So 50 was supposed to come down there to do a show, and he didn't make it because they had shot him up. I don't know if he was coming in the first place, but he was supposed to, because he was paid half the money to come down there to perform How to Rob an Industry Cat.
And when was the next time you seen him after that?
The next time I seen 50 after that was at Jack the Rapper. He had blew up. Man. He was like, he was this dude and everything like that. And I was sitting we was in Puerto Rico, and I was sitting by myself, just chilling. And he had his whole entourage with him. He came directly over to me. He like, yo, Gene. I was like, yo, what up, Fit? I said, what up, 50? He said, what's up, man? He said, yo, put his hand out to me, and he grabbed my hand. He said, yo, they can't stop what God got planned. Went on about his business. And then he blew up crazy.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 50 going so hard at Diddy with the documentaries? And, what did he do to 50 that made him hate him so much, man? That's crazy.
Well, I think it's just, you got to look at it like this. 50 was writing a lot of shit that made a lot of money for Diddy. And he knew back then in the day, he didn't know what he know now, but Diddy was robbing him. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing those kids in and say, yo, here, write this verse for me, man, for this, stuff like that, and giving them $5,000. You understand? Or $10,000, and you making $100,000 or $200,000 or maybe $2 million off of it, or $1 million, whatever the case may be. See, people call that good business. That's not good business. That's taking a person's talent, using it for your own self-indulgence, and not giving him what it's worth. When you could have been teaching these kids, you could have been helping these kids, and maybe these kids would have been helping you at the point you are right now. So
to disastrous. Interview. When those notifications lit up phones across the industry at 2 a.m., nobody was prepared for what popped up. Ross wasn't just angry, he was on full scorched earth mode. Veteran PR experts were texting back and forth, practically begging someone to step in before he torched everything he had built. His first public response hit Instagram like a nuclear blast, a 15-minute unfiltered rant packed with threats, wild accusations, and raw fury.